Hi there, it's Asia, and in this video I'll show you some sentences or even paragraphs from different IELTS General Writing Task 1 letters, and you will need to find mistakes. Then I'll reveal correct answers and give you the full explanation. Please count how many tasks you can answer correctly. Ready? Let's get started! Here is the first task. You need to find 3 mistakes. Okay, the beginning of the letter is: Dear Jack, I'd like to request an information about the photo exhibition taking place at your gallery next month. There are 3 mistakes here. Can you see them? Please pause the video if you'd like to think a little bit. Now let me show you what those mistakes are. So first of all, we are writing the letter to the gallery. That means it's a formal letter. And in this case, addressing it to Dear Jack using the first name is definitely a mistake. If you know the name of the person, you could say Dear Mr. Jones. But in most cases, when you're writing to a business or a gallery, use Dear Sir or Madam. The second mistake, I wouldn't say it's a deadly mistake. But in formal letters, you should avoid using contractions. And it's definitely preferable to write I would like instead of I'd like. And the third mistake, have a look at the word information. In English, it's uncountable, so you cannot use an indefinite article with it. It's just information. You can say some information, a piece of information, or just information. Now let's have a look at the corrected version. Dear Sir or Madam, I would like to request some information about the photo exhibition taking place at your gallery next month. Now let's have a look at our second task. Here you need to find 1 mistake. And you know, in every task you'll be given 3 bullet points. And you need to describe each bullet point in a separate paragraph. And you need to provide some information about those bullet points. Okay, let me show you one. The bullet point is: explain why you want to take part in this exhibition. Okay, we need to answer why. Here is the answer. I have a number of remarkable photographs from Arctic that will be of interest to the visitors. What is the mistake? Well, the sentence is grammatically correct, but this answer is simply too short. Ideas are not developed enough. You need to write 2-3 sentences on each bullet point. Let me show you the corrected version. Some of my works may be of interest to you. As an avid photographer, I participated in an Arctic tour where I was fortunate to capture some remarkable northern landscapes and local fauna, including white bears and sea lions. I believe these photographs will be a valuable addition to your exhibition. This is a good length for a main paragraph. It's about 50 words long. Okay, now let's have a look at the next task. Here you need to find 4 mistakes. I'm thrilled about this forthcoming exhibition and count the days until it opens. Best wishes, Asia. Okay, that's the end of our letter. What are the mistakes? Okay, we already know that this is a formal letter, but this ending is very informal. Let me show you why. Have a look at the last sentence. I'm thrilled. This is an informal expression. Another informal expression is to count the days. You shouldn't write that in a formal letter. Next, look at the sign-off. Warmest wishes. Again, it's way too informal for a formal letter. That's something you could write in an informal letter. And similarly, Asia. Signing off with just your first name is suitable for informal letters and definitely not for formal ones. So here is the corrected version. I would be delighted to take part in the forthcoming exhibition and look forward to hearing back from you. Yours faithfully, Asia Miad. So the meaning is exactly the same, but the style is formal. Before we continue, I'd like to make an announcement. I have just released my new course where you can learn how to write General Training Task 1 letters step by step from the greeting to the ending, and you learn how to write your letters quickly and meet all the requirements for a Band 7 Plus score. One lesson is available for a free preview, and I will link the course in the video description box below. Now, let's have a look at the next task. Okay, here you need to find the mistakes. I'm not going to tell you how many we have. The task is: a family in London is looking for someone to live with the family for 6 months and teach their children your language. Okay, so that's a family advertising a vacancy for someone to teach their children your language for 6 months. And here is some bit of the letter. I write in order to apply for the position of Russian language teacher advertised in the local newspaper last week. Having acquired a PhD in linguistics, I have spent 3 years teaching Russian at the international school in Almaty. I'm also a bubbly, talkative person, and getting along with children is a piece of cake for me. What are the mistakes? If you'd like to think, please pause the video. Otherwise, I'm gonna tell you. Well, first of all, the first 2 sentences, I would say, are too formal. You're writing to a couple, not to a business. But saying something like, I write in order to apply, that's like you're applying for a job to a big corporation. I would say it's a bit too formal. In the next sentence, having acquired a PhD. Again, this is a very formal expression, and perhaps you don't need to be as formal when you're writing to 2 people with whom you're hoping to live for some time. And the last sentence, it's too informal. I am also a bubbly, talkative person. Bubbly and talkative are very informal words. It's not something you would write in a job application, even if you're writing to private individuals. And even more informal is the idiom, a piece of cake. That's something you can tell to your friends, but you wouldn't write it in a letter. Let me show you the corrected version. I would like to inquire about the position of Russian language teacher advertised in the local newspaper last week. I would like to inquire is polite, it's formal enough, but it's not overly formal. Again, in the next sentence, I'm gonna say, I believe both my education and personality are ideally suitable for this job. So in this sentence, I already summarize what I'm gonna write about, and it's easier for the reader to understand me. And that's a great thing to do in your letter. Instead of saying having acquired a PhD, I just say, I studied linguistics at university and have a PhD in this discipline. Upon graduation, I spent 3 years teaching Russian at the international school in Almaty. So this part remains the same. As for my personality, instead of saying also, which is quite informal, I'm saying as for, I am an enthusiastic and friendly person and get along well with children. I think these are qualities which the employer may be looking for in the teacher for their children. A person who is enthusiastic, friendly, and gets along well with children, instead of bubbly and so on. Okay, let's have a look at the next task. Here you need to find the abstract with the correct style. The task is: a friend you made while studying abroad asks for your help in finding a job in your country. Write a letter to your friend. Okay, this is a letter to the friend. Now let me read a couple of sentences and you think if the style is correct or not. KPMG, one of the largest accountancy firms, recruits university graduates every year. Applications should be submitted in winter via the company website. What do you think about it? I think it's too formal for an informal letter to a friend. Even though the topic is quite formal, it's about a job, but this text would be better on the company website than in a letter to a friend. Okay, here is another one. Why not have a shot at KPMG? It's a huge accountancy firm I've been working for since autumn. Just make sure you submit your application earlier in winter to have the best chance. What do you think about this one? I think it's a good example in a very informal style. Something like to have a shot. That's an informal expression. A huge accountancy firm. The adjective huge is informal as well. Just make sure, so starting the sentence with just is informal again. But all that is acceptable for an informal letter. Now, the third version. You could try to get a job at KPMG, where I've been working since autumn. It's one of the largest accountancy firms. To have the best chance, you should submit your application early in winter via the company website. What do you think about this one? Well, actually, the style here is less informal than in the previous one, right? We don't have any slang, we don't have any informal collocations, but the style is correct. You may have a friend who is of the same age with whom you talk very casually, or a friend who you don't know quite as well, and you will be more polite, more respectful in your writing. As long as you avoid very formal phrases, that's absolutely fine. And another important thing is you should make sure your style is consistent. You shouldn't write something quite informal in one sentence and then quite formal in the next sentence, because you will definitely lose points for that. Make sure your style is consistent throughout the letter. Okay, how many tasks have you answered correctly? Please post your answer in comments, I'd like to know. Indeed, choosing the correct style or the correct tone is a big challenge in general writing task 1. And you can learn much more about the differences between informal and formal style if you enroll on my new course. It's linked in the video description box below. And in this course, you can learn how to meet each requirement for a Band 7+ score. Right now, you can download a free PDF with useful phrases for writing formal letters. It's right on the screen. It's also linked in the video description below. So thank you for watching me today. Good luck with your preparation and your exam. Bye!